10 Craziest Snake Attacks. Number 10. 8-year-old attacked by anaconda. In 2007, 8-year-old Matheus Pereira from Brazil was playing with his cousin in a creek. Suddenly, a 5-meter-long anaconda grabbed Matheus and began to strangle and bite him. His 66-year-old grandfather, Joaquim Pereira, heard his screams from his farm 500 meters away. His grandfather then began to wrestle the snake and hit it with a machete. The grandfather and the snake wrestled for about half an hour before Joaquim was able to free his grandson from the snake's grip. Matheus was rushed to hospital and lived after 21 stitches. Number 9. Anaconda attacks TV show host. In 2009, a television show from Colombia was attempting to obtain some footage of anacondas. The crew found a massive anaconda deep in the Amazon rainforest. The show's host, Toniho, attempted to pick up the snake. The agitated anaconda then struck Toniho, wrapped itself around him, and then bit him deep in his bicep. It took 5 men to wrestle the anaconda off Toniho, but he survived and began filming 2 months later. Number 8. Python kills owner. In 1996, 2 brothers living in a Bronx housing project kept a 13-foot python in their home. They had hoped to set up a business. They had hoped to set up a business where the 13-foot python would eat rats and mice for people who had them in their homes. One day, one of the brothers named Grant Williams was tending to the python when it suddenly killed him, mistaking him for food. A medical crew arrived and pronounced Grant dead at the scene. The 13-foot snake was taken to the Bronx Zoo as it had been obtained illegally. Number 7. Python kills student zookeeper. In 2008, 29-year-old student zookeeper Eric Areta was working alone in the reptile section of Caracas Zoo. While he was feeding a python, it bit his arm before wrapping itself around Eric, crushing him to death. Co-workers arrived the next morning to the horrifying sight of the python trying to swallow Eric. Eric had broken the zoo rules by entering a snake's holding cage alone, resulting in his death. Number 6. Starving serpent. In 2011, 2 parents, Jane and Charles Hare, had been housing a 9-foot python in their Florida home. The snake had been starved as Jane and Charles rarely fed it. Because of this, the python became desperate and ate their 2-year-old daughter. Jane and Charles were sentenced to 12 years in prison for manslaughter and child neglect. Number 5. Angry Mum vs Python. In 2009, a family from Las Vegas was looking after an exotic type of python. Somehow, the snake got loose in their house and wrapped itself around the family's 2-year-old baby boy. An angry mother then fended off the snake with a kitchen knife, saving her son. Officers were able to remove the 18-foot python from the house. Amazingly, no one was harmed due to the police and the angry mum. Number 4. Brunswick python attack. In August of 2013, 2 boys aged 4 and 6 were sleeping in their apartment in Canada. The apartment was above their friend's father's pet shop, which housed snakes. One 14-foot python escaped the enclosure and crawled through the air duct. The python fell from a ceiling tile above where the boys were sleeping. The python strangled the 2 boys, resulting in their deaths. The python was killed by authorities after the incident. Number 3. Baby attacked by python. In 2013, Tess Guthrie from Australia woke to the sound of her cat hissing. Her cat was hissing at a snake that had coiled around her baby daughter. Tess frantically tried to pry the snake off her 2-year-old daughter. However, the snake began to bite the infant in the hand 4 times. The snake was removed by authorities and the daughter survived the bites. Number 2. Woman attacked by boa constrictor. In 2011, wildlife enthusiast Debbie Gerzinski from Texas was working with snakes at her local zoo. As she was giving a snake some water, a boa constrictor clamped onto her hand. The snake then wrapped itself around Debbie's whole body. Emergency crews arrived and cut off the snake's head, freeing Debbie. Although Debbie's life had been saved, she was still upset by the death of her snake. Number 1. Suicide by snake. In 2015, Grant Thompson was found dead in his car in Texas. Emergency services found several snake bites on his body. His death was ruled as a suicide, as an autopsy revealed that he had prompted the snakes to bite him on purpose. The autopsy also showed no signs of Grant attempting to pull the snakes off his body. Marijuana and amphetamines were found in